Exercise 1, page 7.
Technological invention. Volcanic eruption. Huge tropical storm. Mine collapse. Earthquake. Tsunami.
Exercise 3, page 7. Extract 1.
Airport authorities all over Northern Europe are cancelling flights, and many passengers are stranded at airports, unable to fly due to the ash and dust that can cause serious damage to an aircraft in flight. Also, many people have had to leave their homes in the surrounding area.
Extract 2.
There are scenes of joy and relief as the men hug their families, relieved that their ordeal is over. They are thankful for all of the efforts that led to their rescue. They still can't believe they are alive.
(1A) Volcano chasers. Exercise 1, page 8.
Ash and gas fly up into the atmosphere. Rocks and lava erupt out of the crater. Lava pushes through vents in the side of the volcano.
Exercise 2A, page 8.
In the heat of the moment. When a volcano erupts, most people want to get as far away as possible as quickly as they can. German engineer Martin Rietzsche, on the other hand, grabs his camera and tries to get as close as he can and stay alive at the same time. He's so close that he can feel the heat burning his face, even through his gas mask. The lava flow is about a metre away, and it's getting closer every second. The ground beneath his feet is shaking, and there is a deafening roar like a plane taking off. He can't stay this close for too long, because the gases and acids will destroy his camera. But Martin Rietzsche waits just long enough to see flaming hot lava and ash explode out of the nearby crater and gets the perfect shot. Martin is a freelance photographer whose stunning photographs of volcanic eruptions are in high demand with newspapers and magazines all over the world. He is one of a small but dedicated group of volcano chasers. When a dormant volcano becomes active, they book the first flight to be as near as possible to it, set up camp and wait, sometimes for as long as 2 weeks. It takes a lot of patience, as a volcano can erupt at any time, night or day, and clouds, fog and steam often block the view. The final results, though, like Martin's shots of volcanic lightning, a phenomenon that still mystifies scientists, are definitely worth it. When the Eyjafjallajökull volcano in Iceland erupted in 2010 and ash clouds closed airspace over Northern Europe, Martin was already on the scene for some of his most spectacular shots. After spending 3 sleepless nights in freezing temperatures, Martin got within 3 feet of the lava flow and even took photos of lava fountains, jets of lava that shoot up as high as a 30-story building. He didn't get any sleep because the volcano was throwing out rocks the size of cars, so for most of the time he was sheltering behind a large boulder. Martin says that he's had more accidents when mountain climbing than volcano chasing, But that doesn't stop him from taking precautions, because this is a job where safety is a priority. Goggles and a gas mask provide protection from poisonous gases, but gloves are just as important, because fresh lava can be as sharp as a knife. Volcano chasing is quite risky. As Martin admits, one has to know when it is safe to come near and when it is a matter of survival to stay away, sometimes many kilometers away.
One B. Amazing Escape. Exercise 1A, page 10. One,
Twist your ankle. Sprain your ankle. Go to hospital.
2,
Faint with exhaustion and dehydration. See a doctor.
3,
Slam a door on your finger. Be very painful.
4,
Badly gash your leg. Have stitches.
5,
Slip and break your arm. Put on a cast.
6,
Bang your head. Put ice on it.
Exercise 7, page 11.
Trapped. When 27-year-old Aaron Ralston set out to climb in the remote Blue John Canyon in Utah one Sunday in May 2003, he had no idea that he would have to make an incredible sacrifice to stay alive. Aaron had gone climbing alone many times before. Only this time, he hadn't told anyone where he was going, and he didn't even take his mobile phone. Apart from his climbing gear, Aaron carried only a backpack containing a small first aid kit, a knife, a video camera, 1 liter of water, and a few snacks. He felt sure he would be back before nightfall. Aaron had been climbing all day and was about to stop, but as he was crossing a 1-meter-wide crack in the canyon, disaster struck. A 365-kilo boulder moved and trapped his arm against the canyon wall. It crushed Aaron's arm so tightly he could only feel his fingertips. There was no way he could move. At first, Aaron hoped that help would arrive, but nobody came. He struggled to get free and, using his penknife, tried to chip away at the boulder, without success. 4 days and freezing cold nights passed with Aaron in terrible pain and surviving on just sips of water and pieces of chocolate. Aaron used his video camera to keep a video diary and then to record a goodbye message to his parents. Fighting exhaustion and dehydration, Aaron became more and more delirious. On the 5th day, Aaron reached a decision to do the one thing, the only thing, that could save his life: to cut off his own arm. If he didn't rescue himself now, he wouldn't have the strength to do it later. He used his body weight to bend his arm until he felt it break. Then, using his blunt penknife, he slowly cut through his arm. The whole procedure took an hour. He administered first aid to himself. Then he fixed a rope to the rock and climbed down nearly 21 meters to the canyon floor. After hiking 8 kilometers, he came across a Dutch family who gave him water and helped him to walk on. Meanwhile, Aaron's friends and family had realized he was missing and notified authorities, who found out Aaron had used his credit card to buy groceries in Moab, Utah. When a rescue helicopter crew finally spotted him, the rescuers were amazed to see Aaron walking back to his truck. He hardly needed them to rescue him. Aaron hasn't let his accident stop him from living life to the fullest. With his prosthetic arm, he has become a better climber than before his accident. He also works as a motivational speaker, helping disabled athletes and troubled teenagers. In 2010, a blockbuster film came out about his experience called 127 Hours, the exact amount of time he spent trapped. Aaron still revisits Blue John Canyon to remember his desperate struggle to survive and return to his loved ones.
One C. Culture Corner. Exercise 1, page 12.
Hurricane Katrina, the tragedy of New Orleans. On Tuesday, the 23rd of August 2005, a tropical storm formed over the Bahamas, about 560 kilometers east of Miami, Florida. By the 25th of August, the storm had strengthened and become Hurricane Katrina. Residents of the city of New Orleans had no idea that within days, 80% of their city would be underwater in one of the worst disasters in U.S. history. Hurricane Katrina was one of the most powerful storms that has ever hit the Atlantic coast, with winds of over 270 kilometers per hour. As it became stronger over the Gulf of Mexico, the mayor of New Orleans declared a state of emergency and started evacuating the city. When the eye of the storm missed the city by about 72 kilometers, everyone thought the worst was over, but they were very wrong. New Orleans has always been under threat from flooding. With the Mississippi River on two sides, Lake Pontchartrain to the north, and most of the city 150 to 300 meters below sea level, a series of high walls, called levees, protect it. As the hurricane came ashore, it brought an 800-meter-high storm surge that rode the rivers up to New Orleans and smashed through the levees. Over 1 million residents had already left the city, but tens of thousands, mainly the elderly and the poor, were in temporary shelters. As the waters rose, people were begging for help on roofs, and neighborhoods were suffering from looting and violence. Emergency services struggled to cope. Eventually, the military and the National Guard moved into the city and began to get food and water to the desperate few that remained. After 43 days, Army engineers pumped the last of the floodwater out of the city. Almost 1,500 people had lost their lives because of Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans alone. These days, New Orleans is making a slow recovery. The city has improved the levees, the community is rebuilding itself, and everyone is working hard to make sure that nothing like this will ever happen again.
One D. Everyday English. Exercise 2, page 13.
What are you watching this for? It's nearly finished. What's on later? Why don't you look in the TV guide? I like the sound of that. Isn't there anything else on? As long as we can change the channel at 8. That's fine with me.
Exercise 3, page 13.
What are you watching this for? Documentaries are boring.
I happen to find it interesting. Anyway, it's nearly finished.
What's on later?
I don't know. Why don't you look in the TV guide?
Okay. Well, after this, there's a reality show on Channel 2 or a game show on Channel 3.
I can't stand game shows, and I don't like reality shows either. Isn't there anything else on?
American Idol is on Channel 1. We can watch that.
What is it?
It's a talent show.
Okay, I like the sound of that. As long as we can change the channel at 8, I want to see CSI.
Okay, that's fine with me.
Exercise 5, page 13. One,
He's watching a what?
2,
It's a documentary about what?
3,
The film's on at what time?
4,
He's paid how much a show?
5,
The Simpsons have been running for how long?
1E. Weird weather. Exercise 2, page 14. Exercise 3, page 14.
Raining animals. Giant hailstones. Pink snow. Red rain. A never-ending lightning storm. Ball lightning. A fire tornado. Blue moon. A moonbow. Lunar rainbow.
Exercise 4, page 14.
Strange weather we're having. Most of us are interested in the weather forecast. Do we need to wrap up warm today or take an umbrella or our sunglasses when we go out? But imagine if you heard that a never-ending lightning storm was on its way, or a shower of animals. This might sound crazy, but believe it or not, these kinds of weird weather phenomena actually happen. Heavy weather. Some people are used to extreme weather conditions. This is the case for those who live in the area where the Catatumbo River meets Lake Maracaibo and has dark clouds covering it most of the year. For centuries, these clouds constantly crash into each other and cause violent lightning storms that can last up to 10 hours and occur between 140 and 160 nights a year. They call it the never-ending lightning storm. However, every cloud has a silver lining. This lightning activity produces nitrogen oxide, which probably helps to restore the ozone layer. Another kind of rare lightning is ball lightning. This is a ball of brightly coloured light which usually occurs during thunderstorms but lasts longer than a lightning bolt. Sometimes the ball even explodes and leaves behind a smell, but the true cause of this phenomenon is a mystery. One sighting hit the news in 1984 when ball lightning entered a Russian aircraft, flew above the shocked passengers, travelled through the aircraft, and passed silently out again, leaving 2 holes in the plane. Fire from the sky. We're all used to hearing about tornadoes, but imagine if a tornado was a whirling firestorm instead of a windstorm. A fire tornado, or a fire devil, can happen when high temperatures from a wildfire mix with strong winds. They are usually about 300 to 450 meters high, but they can sometimes reach 1.6 kilometers in height. A fire tornado made world news in 2010 in Brazil, when astonished motorists watched one spin and burn its way through fields by a highway. In 1923, the Great Kanto earthquake in Japan ignited the largest fire tornado in history, killing 38,000 people in 15 minutes. Luckily, fire tornadoes are very rare. A watery tale. Have you ever heard the saying, "It's raining cats and dogs"? Well, what about frogs, fish, jellyfish, or even snakes? Believe it or not, there have been many stories throughout history of it raining animals. One explanation is that strong winds or a tornado could pick them up and drop them far away. The rain of fish has been happening every summer in the region of Yoro, Honduras for over a century. Witnesses say that there is usually a violent storm, then afterwards there are hundreds of living fish on the ground, which people take home, cook and eat. Many local people believe that this is a miracle, but some scientists disagree. They believe that the fish are from underground rivers and that the storms somehow bring them up above ground.
One F. Disasters. Exercise 1A, page 16.
Massive undersea earthquake strikes off the coast of Japan. 10-meter tsunami washes away houses and cars. Force of Japan quake moves island by 2.4 meters. Nuclear power stations in quake areas closed down. 500,000 Japanese evacuated their houses, and 1.4 million without running water.
Exercise 9, page 17.
The day the Earth moved. On the 11th of March 2011, at 14:46 local time, an undersea earthquake struck off the northeastern coast of Japan. The force of the earthquake, the most powerful in Japan's history, triggered a devastating tsunami. Many thousands of people lost their lives, and roads, buildings, and entire villages were swept away. The world faced a partial nuclear meltdown, and the planet moved on its axis, shortening the length of every day by 1.8 milliseconds. It was a terrible national tragedy that the country will need a great deal of time to recover from. In the days before the main earthquake, Japan had experienced quite a few foreshocks, some of which exceeded magnitude 7. But nothing could prepare the nation for the main shock, a magnitude 9 quake. It was strong enough to be felt hundreds of kilometers away in Tokyo, where buildings shook violently and many office workers ran out onto the streets terrified. Closer to the epicenter, buildings collapsed, roads and railways were ripped apart, and fires blazed. Much worse was yet to come as the authorities issued a tsunami warning. Frantic residents headed for high ground, rooftops or upper floors of buildings. Soon after, a wall of water, 10 meters high in some places, rolled across the Pacific Ocean and crashed into the coast. It washed away houses and cars and hurled ships far inland, carrying them along and slamming them into whatever lay in their path. One giant wave even crashed through an airport in Sendai, leaving 1,300 people stranded on the upper floors. The waters reached up to 10 kilometers inland before heading back out to sea, now loaded with debris and leaving a swamp-like landscape of landslides and mud. TV viewers couldn't believe their eyes as these scenes were broadcast around the world. By this time, many areas were without electricity as pylons had crumbled, which caused a major disaster at Japan's nuclear power stations. Without power, the cooling system at the Fukushima No. 1 plant failed. The government immediately ordered an evacuation of hundreds of thousands of residents. Explosions rocked the plant as courageous technicians struggled to control the damage and prevent a nuclear meltdown. Over the next few days, a large number of aftershocks continued to shake Japan, causing plenty of problems for rescue teams as they raced to find survivors. Several countries sent relief workers, and the world held its breath while it waited to see how the tragedy would end. Sadly, there were hardly any survivors. Over 15,000 people died that day, and thousands more were missing. Several amazing tales of survival came to the attention of the world's press, though. A 4-month-old baby girl was pulled alive from the rubble 4 days after the earthquake. A man was found clinging to his rooftop as it was floating 14 kilometers out at sea 2 days after the tsunami. And there was the Japanese student in California, desperate for news of her lost family, who found them on a YouTube news clip. It showed her sister holding up a sign and sending a desperately needed message of hope across the world. We all survived.
One G. Skills. Exercise 1A, page 18. One.
Rail accident.
2.
Landslide.
3.
Flood.
4.
Factory explosion.
5.
Road accident.
6.
Plane crash.
7.
Severe storm. Freak storm.
8.
Environmental disaster.
9.
Tsunami.
10.
Earthquake.
11.
War.
12.
Avalanche.
Exercise 2A, page 18. A.
I can see 5 soldiers. They are wearing army clothes. They are all wearing gloves and hats. 4 of them are looking through binoculars, and 1 person is writing on a piece of paper. There is a vehicle behind them. I think it is a tank.
B.
There are a number of people walking along a raised walkway which runs along a flooded street. The people are wearing boots and pulling small suitcases along, so I think they're evacuating from a flooded town. Along the side of the street, there are shops, but they are partly under the water.
C.
There is a rescue worker and a search and rescue dog. They are in a collapsed building. I can see broken concrete walls. The dog is looking into an area which has collapsed, and maybe it can smell a person trapped there. The man is wearing safety gear. He is wearing blue overalls and a hard hat with a light on it.
D.
There is a large train engine. It is black with a red front with the letters SP in white. It has come off the tracks, but it hasn't fallen over. There are two men by the side of the tracks in yellow jackets. I think they are discussing what to do.
Exercise 4, page 18.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Lunchtime News. Bringing you all the latest national and international headlines. There's been a major train crash on the South Haven to Beverley line. The accident happened during the morning rush hour when the light system failed and two passenger trains collided. The ambulance service and police are now on the scene. Over 40 people have been seriously injured, but luckily no one was killed. The government has ordered an official inquiry to find out why the light system failed. Other news: the River Thames burst its banks in the early hours of this morning, causing a massive flooding in the town of Richmond. The flooding is the result of a night of severe storms and heavy rain. Local residents woke up to find water pouring into their homes. Emergency services are now working to evacuate residents who are still trapped in their homes. The mayor said that it was the worst flood the town had ever seen, and the cost of repairs could reach well over £1 million.
1H. Curricula. Geography. Exercise 1, page 19.
Tsunami, a wave of disaster. A tsunami is a large wave that travels at great speed towards land. They are usually caused by an undersea earthquake, but they can also happen after a large undersea landslide and an underwater volcanic eruption. When an undersea earthquake happens, the Earth's tectonic plates move suddenly downwards or upwards. This usually happens on a fault line, and one plate slides below the neighbouring plate, causing a large amount of water to be forced upwards. This water forms a wave. Just like when you throw a pebble into a lake, the water ripples outwards. It is the same with a tsunami, but the water doesn't stop moving until it reaches land. As the wave moves towards the land, it increases in speed and strength. Not all tsunamis are giant waves when they hit the shore, though. Many of them come inland as a strong and fast tide. However, the impact of the water often destroys everything in its path. After the initial tsunami hits land, there are often other waves following it that can be just as big, which slowly get smaller over time. The same as the ripples from the pebble mentioned before, but on a much larger scale. Water is a very powerful force and can cause tremendous damage. As well as the loss of life that a tsunami can cause, it can flatten buildings and trees and destroy whole ecosystems.
One I. Writing. Exercise 9, page 21.
One hot July day, Matt and his friends decided to go surfing. After they loaded their surfboards into his Jeep, they set off for the beach. By the time they got to their favourite surfing spot, the weather had changed. Dark clouds had filled the sky and the wind was blowing violently. Matt continued to drive down the beach, hoping to find a calmer area, but the weather only got worse. All of a sudden, a huge wave collided with the side of his Jeep, turning it upside down. Everyone screamed. They couldn't get out. Matt's friend Liz called for help on her cell phone. Before long, an ambulance and a rescue vehicle arrived. They helped Matt and his friends escape from the overturned Jeep. Everyone sighed with relief. Luckily, no one was seriously injured.
Skills Practice 1. Exercise 2A, page 22.
Rescue teams worked through the night trying to get to anyone trapped beneath the rubble after Tuesday's violent tremors in Jakarta yesterday. 5 people, including a 4-month-old baby, were pulled out alive. The area continued to suffer mild aftershocks, although none led to any further damage. Better weather has helped the teams after Tuesday night's heavy rain, and they are optimistic about finding more survivors over the next hours and days.
Flights are being cancelled all over Europe as the ash cloud is drifting down from the north. That's going to cause huge problems for people going on holiday, but the authorities say there's nothing they can do, and it's just a matter of waiting until the skies are clear again. There is no danger to residents in towns and cities close to the eruption, but citizens are advised to go out only if absolutely necessary and close all windows.
Many residents in the tiny village of Brevington woke this morning to find streets and homes under 35 centimetres of water. Heavy rains over the previous few days caused the river to burst its banks unexpectedly for the first time in over a century. Shop and homeowners were not prepared, and cleaning up the damage could cost them over £500,000. The waters are still rising, but conditions are expected to improve later in the day.
3 skiers were still missing last night after a huge avalanche in the French Alps. Tom Harverley, an experienced ski instructor in the Three Valleys area, said yesterday that visitors to that area had been warned of the high chance of avalanches, and the missing skiers should not have risked skiing there. Rescue workers are doing everything they can to find the skiers, but hope for their safety is fading.
Last night's high winds reached 128 kilometers per hour in some areas, causing extensive damage to property. Passengers on the 192 bus in Stockley were lucky to be alive after a falling tree crashed onto the roof, throwing passengers from their seats. Amazingly, no one was seriously hurt in the accident, although several people were taken to hospital suffering from shock.
Exercise 4A, page 23.
I enjoy watching a variety of TV programs, but I just love police dramas like CSI. I find them really exciting and interesting. I'm not really a fan of soap operas, though, and I can't stand watching reality shows. I think both of these are silly and a waste of time.
Exercise 1, page 26.
Yuri Gagarin. It was at 10 a.m. on the 12th of April 1961 when Radio Moscow interrupted scheduled broadcasting to announce something truly historic and magnificent. Here is our special news, it stated. The first cosmic spaceship named Vostok 1 with a man on board has orbited around the Earth from the Soviet Union. He is an airman, Major Yuri Gagarin. An hour earlier, the spacecraft Vostok 1 with Yuri Gagarin as its only crew was fired from a launch pad in Baikonur in Kazakhstan. It orbited the Earth once at a speed of 27,000 kilometers per hour for a total duration of 108 minutes. The ship's flight path took it up to space and over the Pacific Ocean, South America, across the equator, and the South Atlantic before re-entering the Earth's atmosphere and landing at Engels. His safe return put to rest worries that spaceflight could be fatal to humans and opened the doors to space travel. The news quickly spread and the world was astonished. The Soviet Union had beaten the USA in the race to get the first man into space, and Yuri Gagarin had become that man. The Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev congratulated Gagarin on his achievement and sent him a message from his Black Sea holiday home in which he said that the flight opened up a new page in the history of mankind in its conquest of space. Major Yuri Gagarin, a previously unknown army officer, instantly became a national hero and an international icon. Today, the landing site at Engels has become a monument park, at the center of which is a 25-meter-tall sculpture of a silver metallic rocket ship and a 3-meter-tall statue of Yuri Gagarin. The space hero has not been forgotten, and on the 50th anniversary of his voyage into space, world cosmonauts honored the hero when the Russian, American, and Italian crew of the International Space Station sent a special video message to wish the people of the world a happy Yuri's Night.